Hi guys, and welcome back to Learn Extra Live, grade 10s. I hope you're having an awesome show and you're learning lots, learning more and learning extra. Let me just have a look here. Samantha's on the page. She says that, no, they're not shy, we're just getting it. So that's awesome. That's what I like to hear. Modise says, how can you be shy if you don't understand? But I think you should shout to them again. So now this is me, guys, shouting. Get onto our Facebook page, www.facebook.com/learnextra. Chat to me on Twitter @LearnExtra. If you do have any questions, like Modisa said, don't be shy. Just post them on the page. Okay, so now I think we're going to go back to Haley. Haley, take it away.
Thanks, Cindy. Okay, guys, so we were doing this calculation, and while we were busy with the calculation, when I came up with we should have had 49 Smarties in the box, I kind of thought, no, well, you know what, there's a mistake somewhere. But actually, on reflecting about it in the ad break, I came to the conclusion that I don't think I made any mistakes. And when I went back to check the calculations, there are no mistakes in the calculation. So where are the mistakes? Okay, the mistake is that I thought, well, if I've done this calculation, it must be true, so there must be 49 sweets. But I have not taken into account that space, which I've been talking about actually all day. So in actual fact, if we look at it, I have only 17 sweets. Let's put a little bit more space. Right, so I said that there should be 49. Remember we said that each sweet was 0.5 grams, okay? And in actual fact, there are 17 sweets where there should have been 49, which means that a vast majority of that volume is taken up by space. And especially the way the sweet is designed, that it curves at the end. When you put two sweets close together, just grab two sweets. If I put two sweets close together, you can see that I've got space in between. So there is a lot of empty space within the box. So I think that that's our reason. So going back to the question, let's go find the question again, was, oh, okay, we had, which are you getting better for money for? Yeah. Getting more sweets per rand. I think we've answered that. Let's now see. I want to go back to my table. Let's go back and do a little bit more investigating. So follow me. Right. We had decided that there were, sorry, I forgot which camera I was looking at, that there were about 40 sweets in here. We decided that there's probably 280 odd, maybe 300 sweets in the box, in the packet. Now my question to you is, if I package these in different ways, and I'm going to just throw some sweets into this, right, into this box, I can package them in different ways. I can lay them flat, all the sweets flat, and then just get a layer of flat sweets, then a second layer of flat sweets. I'm going to end up with quite a bit of space. I can try and maneuver them to get less space, and then I'll probably be able to fit more sweets in. So what I'm going to do is actually challenge you with this container. And we're going to try and work out how many sweets we can fit into the container. I'm going to open the sweets, I'm going to open the packet and pour them in. So before I do that, let me give you the dimensions of the, okay, the dimensions of the glass jar. We've got 7 centimeters and my diameter is about 7 centimeters. So should we do the calculation first, or should we throw in the sweets? Well, I'll tell you what, let's throw in some sweets. See how many sweets we can get into there. Now remember we said we probably got about 280 sweets. Look at that. Right, we don't quite fill the, right, so in this we now have, I'm going to take off the top layer so that it's flat. Right, and let's see how many sweets this actually is, but let's do the calculation. So we're going to estimate. Let's challenge them, Indy. Before I finish the calculation, let them try and guess, because they don't know how many sweets are left in here. I'll show them.
I like
my
that
hands.
idea.
Okay, so that's how many sweets I've got left in the packet. Okay, if I fold the packet, you can see the sides. Okay, how many sweets do you think are in this container? And this is assuming I don't eat any between like the board and the table. And
Let us know on
Indeed, that's a
Facebook
good
and on Twitter how many,
Okay,
how
so
many
let us-
things. So
let
let
us
us know.
know.
Post onto our page.
and I'm going to do the calculation in the meantime. So let's go back to my board. Right, let's get a little bit more space. So we have our container, which was definitely a cylinder. And I said that my diameter was about 7 centimeters and my height was about 7 centimeters. So my radius, remember always write your radius, was half of that. So it's 3,5 centimeters. And now my volume is pi, which is 3,14, times by my radius times by my height. Let's do that calculation on the calculator. 3,14 times 3.5 squared times 7. And I get 269. Let's just round to 206. Okay, make it 269. 269 centimeters cubed. Now, how many sweets do you think we can fit into 269 centimeters cubed? Now, bear in mind, we've done the calculation earlier, okay, and we said that each sweet was 0,5 centimeters cubed. So in actual fact, if I divide that, I'm going to get a huge number. Now, I know it's not such a big number, so we're talking about space. But maybe we can relate it to the box we had earlier. Let's look at that. We had the box where we had about, and I'm going to go back to rough numbers, we had 25 centimeters cubed, and we got 17 sweets in it. So now if I'm looking at 269 centimeters cubed, how many sweets do we think we can fit in there? This is quite an interesting thing. I'd actually like to know if there are any guys. Answer us. It would be nice to know. So I'm going to leave that to like kind of the last few moments of the show, and we'll come back to
Sounds
that
like
question.
a good idea.
Does sound like a good question. Good idea.
Mindset is love a good challenge.
Good challenge. Okay, so we remind me to go back to it. Now I'm going to look at carrying on with these sweets. I'm really having such a lot of fun with these Smarties. Here are 3 different packaging used for the same sweets. So we've got a 40-gram box, 61-gram box, and a 150-gram box. And we need to estimate the maximum number of sweets that can fit into each of these boxes. So let's go over and investigate our volume and how many sweets. But remember we said that more or less in our small box and our bigger box, we're going with a gram per sweet. So let's go back and check this out. Right, so these are my boxes. So that was my small one, which I in actual fact have counted already. So I hope you were paying attention. 40 grams. We've got a 61-gram box and my big box of 150 grams. So now I'm going to open. I'm loving opening all these boxes, Indy. Just wish I could eat them all.
I know.
Not just
That's
show
the fun
them off.
part, not opening them.
Right. So in our 40-gram box, let's start with our small box. How much space have we got? We've actually got quite a bit of space in our at the top of our box. Remember, there's space in between as well. I'd estimate about 1 centimeter of space at the top. Okay. In our bigger box, the 61 grams, well, we're getting even more space here. We're looking at about 2 centimeters of space, okay, at the top. And finally, in our big box, whoops, my big box, if I open that one up, well, I've got about 2 centimeters of space as well. So in actual fact, the one that seems to have the biggest amount of space is my 61 grams. So maybe we should look at the volume and see why. So the question was, how many sweets do you think are in each one of these? And I'd go with probably about 40, about 60, and about 150. Now, also have a look. This is quite interesting. This block of 150 grams is equal to all 9. Let's move that aside for a moment. All 9 of these. Because we had 150 grams here, and I hope nobody's missing a box. So all of those are equal to that box in weight. So that's quite an interesting actual exercise. See which is actually better and which is bigger. So if I compare height-wise, the big box is a little bit higher. Okay. Lengthwise, if I put them that way, I've got 2 extra boxes compared to the big box. And widthwise, about the same. So that's quite an interesting different comparison of the 2 Smarties, the 2 boxes. Okay. And I don't remember the price of this, so it would be interesting to see which of these was actually more value for money. See, packaging different. Okay, let's now go back to working out the volume. We've worked out the volume of our small box. Our bigger box, medium-sized box, is 5 centimeters by 12.5 by 1.5. Indy, have you got those down?
Say it
So that
again,
I
one more
could do them
time.
again?
12
Okay.
centimeters by?
5 by 12.5 by 1.5. Okay, and let's ask Indy to calculate our big one. Our big one is 6
Yeah.
by 3 by 6 by 3 by, what was I measuring now? By 12.5.
Perfect. Got them.
Okay, let's go do the calculations and follow me to the board. So my volume for the 40-gram box was, that was 40-gram box we've calculated before. I'll
Those.
go back and get that. My volume, let's go back one page. I think it's on the page before. The volume for the medium box was 60 centimeters. Volume for the 40-gram box was 60 centimeters cubed. Okay. Our volume for our bigger box, what was that? Was the 61 grams? What were those measurements? 12.5.
That was 5 by 12. Oh no, the 12.5 one. So that, sorry, that was the second one you gave me. Or the first one?
The first one I gave you.
Okay, the first one you gave me is 5 by 12 by 1.5.
By 12. 5 by 12. Okay. So 5 by 12 by 1.5. By 1.5. Okay, let's do the calculation quickly. 5 by 12 by 1.5 is 90 centimeters cubed. And finally, our big box.
Is 6
It was 6
by 3
by 3
by 12.5.
by 12.5. 6 by 3 by 12.5. Let's get our calculator out. 6 by 3 by 12, 5, and 225. 225 centimeters cubed. So our volume's quite a big difference. Okay. Now remember, I just want to go back and get our space on the last question. We had medium box was 1.5 by 10 by 1.5 by 4. 10 by 1.5 by 4. I just want to write that in here, as I want to show you is 10 by 1.5 by 4. Now remember when I opened up the boxes, I told you that there was empty space. So we can work out the empty space that is just in those boxes was just a little bit of the height. So we're going to take, in this case, we said there was about 1 centimeter of empty space. So I need to take 4 by 1.5 by 1. And with my bigger box, I said there was 2 centimeters. So I could take it as like 5 by 1.5 by 2. You see, I'm just working out the empty space between these boxes. And I could actually estimate like which is the most efficient. And there's a whole lot of things that we can actually do with these calculations. So work out the amount of cardboard that is needed. Because the bigger 2 boxes had a fair amount of empty space within them. So maybe we don't need as much space. Remember, there was very little, well, there was a lot of empty space. But what I mean is, as I opened the box, how close the Smarties were to the top of the box, there seemed to be a lot more space within the 2 bigger boxes. Possibly they could make these a little bit more efficiently and kind of reduce the amount of cardboard needed. And then maybe they'll become cheaper. It would be nice if they became cheaper.
It would be amazing.
It really does.
Or the same price but more.
The
More
same
of them.
price, but more. But you know what unfortunately is happening, and I don't know if you guys have noticed it out there, and I don't know if you've noticed it indeed, but what's actually happening is they're changing the packaging of certain things, and they're reducing the amount and still charging us the same amount. So all of a sudden you go and you buy something that used to be 750 mils and now is 700 mils, and most of us don't even notice.
So maybe it's a good thing for all the mindsetters out there to check and make sure, be aware of the grammage of everything that you buy, because maybe I think it's quite an interesting thing to know.
It's
and
quite
to
an
see.
interesting.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. We actually had an incident, and I know this is going right off our topic of our investigation, but looking at those little sweets, I can't remember what the sweets are called, but they've reduced the amount of grammage in the sweet per sweet, and their whole justification of the company was because the vendors sell them, those people that sell them on the side of the road and they sell the loose sweets, because the vendors sell them on the side of the road and they sell them for, and I would be lying if I told you exactly, but I was told they sell them for like 10 or 20 cents. So the things that would make it too expensive for them to sell it on the side of the road if they kept the sweet size the same. So they reduced the size of the sweet to keep the price of the packet the same, so that the vendors could sell it for the same amount of money and not go up, because they can't go up in cents because we don't have cents anymore. So they can sell something for 10 cents or 5 cents or 10 cents, but there's no in between. So it was quite an interesting
That is
justification.
Yeah.
Justification. It really was an interesting, rather interesting. Okay, that was on the side and completely off the topic of what we did. We need to go back to how many sweets are in our.
Because I think we've only got a
Right.
few minutes left.
So
think
let's go
about-
back to do this calculation, and maybe back to my table, back to my spot. Okay, so have we got any answers of how many sweets we think are in the volume?
Let me have a
Indy?
look here.
Okay.
I think our page is very quiet. Learners, mindsetters, grade 10s, where are you?
Okay, while Indy's busy with that, let's do the actual calculation and kind of guesstimate or estimate it. So where did I have that calculation? I think it was on the page before. Right, I said that for 25 centimeters cubed, there were 17 sweets. Now, I know I have some sweets left in the packet, so I know it's less than 280. So I'm going to say, well, that is, let's look at that ratio of 25 to 17 is the ratio of, in fact, I'll do it the other way around, 17. And we get a ratio, it's probably about 3/4. Let's get that as a percentage. It is 2/3. So if I look at 2/3 of 269, so 269, let's divide by 3. I've got about 89 sweets. I would go with probably about 100 sweets in there. You got any guesses?
Yeah. Well, I think we've come to the end of the show, right?
Oh, we come to the end of the
I
show.
can't believe how fast this show
Sure.
has gone. Grade 10s, it's been amazing. Ashworth, I hope that you are tuning into the grade 11 show and the grade 12 show. I'm sure you shall be. Thank you guys for such an amazing session. Grade 10, see you same time, same place next week. Bye.